All right, guys, welcome to our Team Get Super Fit, Team to the Max, and other teams post summit call. And what I wanted to do in this call is basically, I don't want to talk. I want to talk about summit, but I don't want to talk about like the fluffy stuff and that you need to be there next year and all that stuff. Like, if you want to talk about that, some of us made videos, and so I encourage you to put make a video to that effect and post it. Kind of how it affected you and how awesome it was and how amazing it was and all that. What I wanted to do in this call is actually talk about what we learned at Summit, what our top takeaways were, and go around. And I think I said, each person take 2 or 3 minutes and give their top takeaway and the number one thing they will change or implement in their business based on what they learned. And, if you want it to be 2 or 3 things, that's fine. But really, I just this business is all about action. Like action is where the results take place, And so I wanted to make this call very action oriented as far as, what are you going to do? What actions are you going to take, as a result of what you learned? So I hope you guys like that idea. And I thought that we could learn from each other and see what each person kind of got out of it and what they're going to implement. And I think that it'll probably be different for just about everyone because we're all at different places and we all probably got different things out of the different sessions that we went to, or even maybe it wasn't from a session. Maybe it was just some hallway, the meeting before the meeting or the meeting after the meeting kind of thing that you actually had your aha moment. So with that, Johan, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Of course, this was my 5th summit, and everyone is better. And like I told Stuart, last year we learned a lot, and we got a lot of confirmation we were doing the right thing. This year was just a lot of confirmation doing the right thing, and keep hearing the same thing, and to see that it will be successful if we keep doing what we're doing. But I had like a light bulb moment, I guess, when, and this is, you guys might run across it too. I've realized that a lot of people, anyway, the coaches on my team, does not even know what All in our Team Beachbody Shop is. And so Stuart and I talked about it today, and we decided to add it to our GSRs to talk to people about it, that you want to look at what's there, and whatever you are going to get, you're going to buy from yourself. Why would you buy it from the competition, right? If a guy owns Walgreens, why would he go to CVS to go buy cold medicine? So, and that could also really boost our volume as well, if we really make people aware of that. And I didn't hear it anywhere. I just talked to my people, and they said, where did you get that mat and stuff like that? Oh, that's in the shop? Yeah, that kind of stuff. So something that stood out to me being in a leadership position is that Scotty Hobbs said that nothing about leadership is convenient. No kidding. But he says that leaders make a choice to commit to something, and that's what we all need to do. Probably the biggest thing for me, I don't know how to separate these two, but the biggest thing for me is that everyone matters, literally everyone. So what I've decided, and I've discussed it with people on my team, is that when people do not buy a challenge pack, to not let up with that, but just offer them the workout program and still put them in the challenge group. And if somebody is a back office lead and you connect and they don't want to buy something right away, put them in the challenge group, because they are either going to fade away anyway, or they are going to be infused by the enthusiasm from the others about Shakeology and eventually jump on that. So that's a major thing. We've already implemented that, actually, and that's what we are going to do from now on. And then in the same sense with that, when you're talking to people, to be really able to tell your story. I don't think that I've done enough in my team to really help them connect with the what, when, and how of their story, and to be able to really tell a story, either for coaching or for the challenge group. And so I'm going to focus, that's probably the big thing that I'm going to focus on more, is to teach my team to to tell a story. That's it.
Awesome. Those are some great takeaways. Very nicely done. By the way, I see that we have at least 4 people on here who were not at Summit, and it would be great if you guys could share as well, just maybe what you learned from. Well, I know Chris, you were watching the sessions live, and some of the others who are on here, if you'd like to just share what you've seen from some of the pictures or anything else, that would be great. So Aaron, if you don't mind, I need to get out of here at the top of the hour because I have a Atlanta Market Council call about Super Saturday. So I'll go next, and then if you can, I don't know how your screen looks like, but if you can just call each person, that would be great, just based on like the order of.
Yeah, I have everybody up on my screen, so.
Okay, good. So I'll go next. Basically, a lot like Johan was saying, since this was my 5th summit and I've been doing this for so long, I wouldn't say there were a lot of like, oh gosh, like hit me over the head moments. It was just more about the overall experience, and like I said in my video, having you guys there. But a few things I did pick up. There was a session I went to about Shakeology, creating loyal Shakeology customers with Melissa McAllister and Meg Wazinski, and they were talking about comparing Shakeology to other shakes, and they did this toilet paper analogy. I don't know if you guys, I know Maybell, you probably saw that, whoever was in the blue track, but she actually had toilet paper there, and she had some from the dollar store and some from her house, and the one from her house was 3 times more expensive. And they held it up and you could see through the one from the dollar store, and obviously you couldn't from the other one. So it's kind of like, well, why would you pay 3 times more for the same thing, And I thought that would be a good example I could kind of have in my tool belt when talking to people about Shakeology. Another thing was I really enjoyed the session from Vito Lafata and Elizabeth Hartke about becoming a top performing leader. They were absolutely awesome. That was the very last session on on Saturday. And so really the 2 biggest things I got out of that were having to do with talking to someone during the GSR call. First is basically, if someone tells you all these big goals and dreams, to ask them, okay, what are you willing to sacrifice? And then obviously write that down. I think I've had that before. I've asked that before, but I'm not consistent with it. So I'm actually going to add that to my Getting Started Right template. And then the other one, which I really loved, was along the same lines, is the question that he asks all of his coaches is during the GSR, do I have your permission to challenge you when it gets tough?
Yeah.
So in other words, everything's rosy, everything's great during the Getting Started Right call, but when they get busy at work or somebody gets sick or whatever life event happens, we want to go ahead and mitigate that at the start and just say, hey, do I have your permission to challenge you when it gets tough? And then we can kind of talk about some of those scenarios, and then when that does come up, you could say, well, you gave me your permission to challenge you, when it gets tough, so now I'm challenging you, sort of thing. So those were my top takeaways. So next, leader.
Well, this is my 3rd summit. I've been doing this 5 years. It's my 3rd summit. And I think the biggest thing this year was having more of my personally sponsored coaches with me, where other years I haven't had any except for Stuart, is really having them with me. And really, we all took in the experience together. And we stayed at the same hotels. We did a lot of stuff together. And I think that bonding was really important as a team. And that's really the only kind of bonding you can get with your team is in person. There's nothing like, this is great, but it's nothing like bonding in person, and being together and all those things is amazing. And we were in the silver track. So I think my biggest takeaway was actually from Amy Silverman. Was talking about telling your story. And I know I tell my story a lot on Facebook, but really saying you shouldn't spew everything at once. It shouldn't be super long. It should only be like 2 paragraphs. and you should just give little bits at a time instead of just spewing everything, because you want people to keep coming back and finding out more about you and connecting with you, because there might be just one little thing that you say that connects somebody, and then they're going to keep following you. And I think the other thing is big consistency and sharing, because I literally shared all the moments of Summit, and while we were there, I signed 3 coaches, including Debbie, who's on the call right now. It's been a customer for a really long time. So, I mean, people are really watching what you're doing. And, I mean, I haven't invited at all. I'm already at Success Club 9 this month. And that's just from sharing, and especially at Summit. People were just like, I want to be involved in that. I want to be part of that. And I think that's the biggest thing, is showing people what we're really about when we do. And that everyone does matter, because people that you may help out and give them just on a program may do really great and then get on Shakeology eventually. And it's just seeing, like, you know, I'm getting emotional, how this past week, like, one of my really good friends lost 10 pounds in 1 week at 21 Day Fix. I mean, that's something that you can't replace that with anything else. I think that were my biggest takeaways. And it was just really emotional to see my team there and everybody growing so much. I think that was the biggest thing. So, Michelle, I think you're next on my screen, at least.
Okay. This was my first Summit. I've been a coach for a year now, a little over a year. So there was lots of great moments, you know, all week. And so if I had to narrow it down to the 2, you know, a couple ones that, you know, kind of hit me the most, probably one of them was they mentioned that someone made the comment or the quote, people don't fall in love with the products, people fall in love with you. And so that's like, oh my gosh, that's so true, because, you know, they follow you and they want to do business, basically do business with you because of you. And it's not the products. It really isn't. And so, and then that just ties right on along, ties right in with, you know, telling your story because your story is unique to you. And if you're open, you know, people will follow you with your open honesty about yourself, even your failures, because you don't want it to all look rosy and happy all the time, and nothing in life really happens to you. You know, you kind of have to throw in a little reality every now and then to make you a real person so that they can follow you. And, you know, so telling your story and being open because, you know, people are following you. That was pretty much my main one. A couple things that maybe I want to implement from the social media training from Janelle Summers was making sure that all your posts are relevant. They're relevant and they add value, so that when people are going to start following you because they know that you're going to give them something valuable. It's not about posting 100 times a day. It's about posting things that mean something to them and that they can get a takeaway and are interested in coming back for more. Especially in today's, you know, social media world where there's so many people out there, you know, you really want to get their attention and keep their attention. One thing that I'm going to implement is, along with the social media, is the main thing, you know, making sure my posts are relevant, is there was some training at the Finish Line Leaders training where it was like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. But we were talking about follow-up. They were having a panel discussion, and someone, actually I think it was Rosa Friesen, who was talking about how she makes a spreadsheet. And she does, you can do like either a Google Doc or an Excel spreadsheet. And so every time you have a contact, you fill in their name and notes about them and then you put a date. You actually make a column with a date from 2 weeks from them to do a follow-up, so that you're constantly going back and following up with those people every couple of weeks. Because, you know, as they say, people need to see something several times before they will decide to do it. So if you keep following up with those people, then, you know, they think that that's valuable to them, and then they will eventually go with you, hopefully. So anyway, that was like an aha moment for me. I was like, oh, because I always get lost in the follow-up, honestly, and I don't do enough follow-up. So that was the main thing that I'm going to implement.
I think Clip's next.
All right. So a couple of biggies for me. One was, and forgive me for not knowing who said this. We were in general session, and they were talking about the fact that our mission statement is not the same as Beachbody's mission statement, and so sometimes we can kind of get wrapped up in that. And so something that I thought about for a long time on the way home was just, all right, what is my mission and then vision, for my company going to be? And so I'm working on honing that right now to be able to put it in a real short sort of thing and get it out there to people, and knowing that it will resonate with the type of people I'm trying to attract. And then I think the other big thing was just to include reading about our main product, Shakeology, and now with all the other performance supplements and tons of things coming out, but just making that part of your personal development, reading up on these products to be able to answer any questions, to be able to talk about the validity of these things, and the acronym that we learned in the one session, just to really recall all of the highlights of how awesome Shakeology is. That's really stuck with me, and I've already used that some. It's been pretty cool. So those are my two biggies.
Thanks. Becky.
Okay, so I've been a coach for about a year, and this was my first summit, and I got the big picture. It just seemed like this past year doing this, I didn't really have it. I knew I had a little bit of what is going on here, but I got the big picture. And I got a lot of info, and it was just, it was life-changing. I've got a lot of things to implement, got a big list. Sometimes I struggle with wording, so some of the workshops kind of helped me have the jargon to kind of speak, helpful in a helpful way, like, I know how you feel, I felt the same way, this is what I found. Being able to kind of implement some of those things to respond to people, to know that I really, truly help them, instead of saying, oh, you're ready to do this? Okay, I'm excited, let's go. So just some things to kind of maybe be a little more relatable, and just also learning what Beachbody has in the back office that we as coaches can turn to. I mean, just all that information that I really didn't realize was there. So I'm going to get into that myself and just kind of see how that can help me. Also, understanding my data, that was a big number one to me. Like, I look at that volume page, I look at all that, and I'm clueless. So I think I really want to dig in there and understand my data, so that when I start adding coaches, I kind of know how to do all that, so that you benefit from what Beachbody offers, your team cycle bonuses, your all of that kind of stuff. So telling my story, that's big. I need to do that more, and sharing, just Summit really gave me a lot of confidence, and it gave me a lot to put into action. So it's huge. It's huge.
Awesome job. Do you mind if I just point something out?
Point it out.
So I don't know if you guys noticed, but like the more experienced people who have been to Summit for a while, like we kind of got smaller things out of it. And then the newer coaches got like a whole lot out of it. Mm-hmm. So my point is like, once you kind of get this business and kind of like build up your skill set, you got it, that's all there is to it, sort of thing. Like, it's just kind of like making incremental improvements from there. Of course, you have to keep learning and growing, which is why, we're going to Go Pro and we keep going to Summit and all that kind of stuff. But like, there's just a certain set of skills that you have to learn, and you can learn them pretty quickly. So just wanted to point that out. Great job, Becky.
Debbie, you want to share anything at all?
Well, I didn't go to Summit. I joined this weekend while you guys were at Summit. And Erin's been trying to get me to join up for a while. I'm like, no, I'm not a salesperson. I can't do this. And then I just had almost like an aha moment a couple of days ago. And I started asking Erin some more questions. And then Saturday, I was like, that's it. I'm doing it. And I've already started recruiting some customers, and one is going to do something tonight. And Erin, I know we're going to hook up on Thursday to talk because I have a lot of questions. Obviously, I'm overwhelmed. Stuart's been helping me a little bit too. I was talking back and forth with him yesterday, and just setting up pages and getting my sons involved. And my daughter-in-law is going to buy Shakeology tomorrow. And I was like, oh, yes. So I'm excited about it. I have a lot of things I'd like to do. And I did tell Erin, again, I was really worried about not succeeding because I have tried a home-based business before. And I think the way I look at it, people say, well, Shakeology is expensive. And then I started automatically, well, $4 a day. And I just went right into that. I didn't realize how much I believed in it. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm really glad I came on the call tonight so I can meet some other people. And I'm looking forward to us discussing stuff on, when we talk on Thursday. So
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
You're one of my 3, so I'm happy. Chris is next.
Sorry, I was on mute. I didn't go to Summit this year, unfortunately. I had a ticket. I had a hotel room. I just didn't have the money. But I did watch the opening ceremonies, and I think the biggest thing for me was just watching all of you guys walk across the stage. It was really exciting for me to see that and to see the team. I'm going to get emotional, sorry. To see the team succeeding and know that I can do that. And that was kind of the biggest thing for me, was knowing that it is possible, because you see all those, 18 million star diamond people who, are millionaires, but you don't know them. And so to really know you guys and to see that happening with you guys was kind of my aha moment, so to speak. And I got giddy when I saw you guys on the screen, and I was really excited. I was like looking for everybody. So, and I think too, my kids were watching with me. So to see their excitement and to be asking me, why aren't you there, was kind of another reason that kind of got me started and is making me want to really make this work, because I knew they got excited about the possibilities. As I was explaining to them why everybody was being recognized. So that excited them too. So that's really what I got from it. I am watching some of the other sessions that were taped. I just haven't gotten through all of them. So I'm doing that day by day.
Just to kind of pony off that, my husband is also a coach, an Emerald coach. He's gone to 3 summits as well. But I think every year, even though he doesn't go to the trainings or anything, he only goes to Celebration and that stuff in the workouts. And I think every year he goes, he gets more interested in the business. And flying home, we're talking about what we can do to really make this be it for us. And even though he still doesn't really want to work the business, still support that a spouse can give you is huge, because him being there and saying, I support you no matter what, and saying, do what you need to do. I'm fine. I can do my own thing. I think that's also huge. And the support of, quit your job at the end of the year, it will be fine. I think that's huge. And I think if you have someone to support you like that, it's even easier to do, because, if I have to work, he supports it and just says, do whatever you need to do. Mm-hmm. Even if your spouses go and doesn't really go to everything, they're going to see it and they're going to support you more. And I think Mabel's next.
I need to drop off, guys. If I can just say one more thing about Chris, had talked about the recognition and everything. What I noticed about that was, we had to stand back in that tunnel forever. It was so hot back there. but I was looking around and, see the people walk across stage, but a lot of times you just can't see all the work that they put into it. And I was there with Stacy James. He's been, we were asking each other, how long have you been a coach? And he's been a coach as long as I have, over 4 years. There was Nikki Boyle back there. She's been a coach for a long time. Johan has been a coach forever. Aaron, Sally's been a coach for 3 years. Christine for, I think, 2 years or more. So it took us a long, long time to get there. And we've walked across stage many times at Summit going, man, I wish I was up there. I saw a guy in the 3-star section, Joey Petrie. That guy's been a coach for like 6 or 7 years at least. He's been a coach for a long time. So, and he was in 3-star with me. So, my point is that it's going to take time to get there, but I think you guys can do it faster than we did, because we're giving you more training, more tools to be able to do it, and we're getting better every year. So, just wanted to add that in. So, thanks, guys. I'm going to drop off. Enjoy the rest of the meeting. Thanks.
Stuart. We're at 10 minutes, so we got to kind of hurry a little bit.
All right, so I'll make mine quick then. So there are a lot of key points or takeaways from Summit that I got, and a lot of it was already mentioned. But the big thing for me was, and it really wasn't like an aha type of moment. It was more like well, yeah, I can see that. And it was talked about in Melanie Mitro's training. One of her coaches, Deidre Penrose, I think is who it was. And one of the things she said is to always be a challenger. And I noticed a lot of times that if I don't actively participate in the challenge groups as a challenger myself, that my customers tend to drop off as well. They don't always follow my fitness page. And I don't post that kind of stuff always on my personal page. So, I think for customer retainment and is just to keep posting as a challenger yourself to show that you're being a product of the product, and that you're constantly on your journey, sharing your struggles, sharing your victories, and just being real and humble in what you do and who you represent. I think that, it just shows a true story behind what Beachbody is about, being that fit family, having that fit family kind of atmosphere. That was the one of my key takeaways from Summit. So,
Christina is next.
Well, I've been a coach for quite some time, but I've basically within the last year been on and off, being actively engaged. They tried to get me to go to Summit last year. It didn't happen. So this is my first year going. And I think I didn't have a whole lot of aha moments. I think mainly because a lot of the things I learned, I see Stuart doing, I see a lot of the coaches doing. So it was just kind of connecting the dots, going like, oh, now I see why they post this way and they do these things and do these things. So there was a lot of connection going on there. I think the biggest thing that I really got out of it was that it was real. I think because we're all so spread out over the place, and it's through Facebook, and you can't really be in touch people. I think for me, just use the products that they really are fit, that they really have succeeded in what they do. See them on stage, see everybody there, just made everything to light, and just made me think like, wow, this is a dream that is possible. I think somebody touched on it, just that, you hear the names and you see the rankings and stuff like that, but it just became more real to me. So on my drive back, I was dreading the drive because it was, 7.5 hours. I know some of you guys drove longer than that, but I really took the time to just think about all the things that I could be doing as a coach that I wasn't doing. So I I've been busy doing a lot of things, talking to a lot of people, and I feel that Summit really gave me that motivation that I needed to get my business moving forward. I think a lot of the takeaways, most of you have touched on already. I think the best motivational speech that I heard out there was the photographer for National Geographic, and just his whole point of, it doesn't always have to be perfect the first time, and just being patient. I think that was huge for me, because I think sometimes we just want to make a quick sale and we forget what we're really doing. So I really liked how they spoke about the personal relationships are important, that, helping people is important, and that the product is just the product, but we're really helping people. So I think just focusing more on that definitely, helps me to be a better coach.
Thanks. Here you go. I'll get me choked up. I don't know who 630 is, so whoever it is is next. Six 674-8897. Okay. Deanna, you want to speak? Anything to say?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I wasn't able to attend Summit this year. I've been a coach now for just under a year. I started December. And what I have gained from being part of the group is that you all do have great relationship, and I'm learning that I'm more of a inside type person, not very outgoing, but I'm working on that as well. And what I'm doing right now that I think is really helping, I've signed up for a class with Sandy Krakowski, and I forget who mentioned that at Summit they learned that people don't fall in love with the product, they fall in love with you. And Sandy does expound on you need to build relationships. So right now I'm working on building my list, building relationship, and she says building culture around you and your business, and then that way you gain customers, loyal followers. So I'm learning a lot in different areas to relate to my coaching business. So that's what I have right now for everyone.
Well, you have 2.5 minutes left. Is there anybody want to add anything else after hearing everybody? 2.5 minutes.
It was so nice that we were able to be at Summit and work on us. Nobody was in a room talking about sales. It was just all about us working on getting ourselves better. And I just valued that a lot. And I knew it was kind of in the right place. It was about helping and sharing, and it wasn't about, hey, you need to get this much sales and you need to, and that's huge. So we're all doing the right thing.
I think the major theme of the Summit this year was relationships.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
And I was going to say, Deanna, I think a lot of us are probably introverts. I am too. So if you read even some of the top coaches, they'll even talk about being introverts and needing that time to recharge. So I don't think you're alone in that. But I think it's actually probably better that we do a lot of social media, because you interact with people, but you're not interacting like we are right now as much.
Yeah.
So it actually probably will keep your energy up a little bit more than having to do person to person, face to face.
And spending time with the team, you don't feel introverted at all because you already feel like you know everybody, even if you've never met.
Right.
Most of my team I've met, but a bunch of you guys I've never met, and I already feel like I know you, so it makes it easier. And you don't feel that much of an introvert because even though we never met in person, we do these calls and it really get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps.
Yeah.
and I know what helped for me, because I was a total introvert, was just taking it one baby step at a time. Take one step and get comfortable with it before you go on to the next step. And as you build, then you'll find yourself being more and more open and putting more stuff on Facebook, more personal stuff, sharing your journey. And that's what it's all about.
Right. Since we have less than a minute, I'm going to close the call.
Okay.
All right. Good night, guys.
Everybody for being here.
Good night.
Bye.